Hello, this is Susan of the North with the weekly Rune of the Day overview for the week of August 11th to the 17th. The first rune I drew today is Wunyo. Wunyo is the rune of joy, satisfaction, accomplishment. This is a day that you're perhaps going to get together with family or just do something that really brings you a lot of joy and gratitude and satisfaction in life. For Monday, August 12th, drawing the rune Os. In the Anglo-Saxon Futhark, Os is the rune that substituted for Ace, the original god rune of the Elder Futhark. Os brings the additional interpretation of river mouth. As the river pours into the ocean, water rises through vapor into rain clouds and rains upon the land, and the rivers and the creeks and stream beds carry it back eventually to the ocean. So this is like our emotions. Our emotions rise and fall all the time. Sometimes we weep like a deep, dark, ocean of sorrow or grief. Sometimes we're laughing and joyful like the water rising up to the sun, and it's everything in between. And sometimes I speak in the we like the collective. I'm speaking for the common experience of people. So those of us who choose to face our emotions and accept them and flow through them and feel our feelings will experience a perhaps greater degree of comfort with acknowledging the flow of how we feel about things in life. And I think it's very important to note that, the emotion is often what drives my creativity, and I can assume that that's true for other people as well. So the more comfortable you get with the rising and falling of emotion and the connection of this to God, to the gods, when I feel things most deeply is when I have my greatest connection to source. So I've experienced this in my communications with the Norns, in my communications with Odin. The deepest connection comes from my depth of emotion and my emotional honesty. So I guess there's not much really more I can say to this rune than that if you allow yourself to become comfortable with the rise and fall of your emotions and feeling your feelings, you can also experience the greatest depth of communication with the source of our being. That's Os. That's Monday's rune. On the 13th of August, Tuesday, the rune I'm drawing for this day is Rouge. Rouge is a rune of strength. It's the rune of the ox. It's the rune of physical health, strength, manifesting power. If you are in good physical health, you have the strength to see through the daily challenges and demands that arise in the course of the day. So let's be grateful when we have that strength. For the 14th, Wednesday, Odin's Day, I am drawing the rune Fido. Fido is the natural rhythm of life in the universe. It's the stars in their path. So what will we say? What holds the stars and the planets and everything together in their orbits is gravity. And Rido is about the life journey. And we can contemplate our own life and know where our centers of gravity are, those things that we most love, our families, our people, our activities that we choose to do for work or enjoy our animals or whatever that might be. But I think it's important to take a look at your centers of gravity and find a balance. Because I think that with the earth changes and the frequency changes on the earth, that is a very important task, and we can just get in touch with that every day just by centering ourselves, grounding ourselves, and taking a little time to meditate and to find out what it is that we specifically need to maintain our own higher state of being. And that goes in accord with the rune I've drawn for Thursday, the 15th of August. This is Halch. Halch is reaching for your greatest happiness. You may or may not attain it, but unless you reach for it, you'll never attain it. That brings to mind also, I have only failed if I don't try. I have had more failures in my life and I've had successes in my life, but each failure brings me a measure of learning, what it is that will work better the next time I try something. And so it's whatever, what is your motivation for continuing? What is your motivation for, it goes back to yesterday's question, what is your gravity? What is your motivation for continuing? What is your greatest joy? What holds you to the higher side of life? And for the 16th, which is a Friday, August 16th, brings us the rune. Oh my goodness, Kanaj. I'm talking about asking yourself the questions of what is your gravity? What brings you joy? What are you willing to work for? What keeps you motivated to keep going? This is about self-knowing, putting it to my third eye. What is it I need to know in order to stay motivated and keep moving forward? Today could be a day of knowledge. Today could be a day of learning something new. And I always try to learn something new every day. So this is kind of fun. And on Saturday, the 17th of August, we are drawing the rune Lagouge. This is about being in the flow of life. Sometimes, and I've had this happen recently, so I'm just echoing my own thoughts on this one, but there's times when life sort of takes us and moves us away from our goals, and we have to meet the needs of a job or the needs of other people for a while. And yet we can always come back to it. Being in the flow means a certain adaptability. And I guess this relates too to Osh being the flow of the energy into the river mouth and to the ocean and just being part of everything. There's an old story that we are all a drop in the river of life, and the river of consciousness, is different than the river of unconsciousness. And some people just go along with whatever it is and they don't strive for conscious awareness to learn. They're just happy being, I don't know, it's not my type of person. So it's hard for me to find the words. I don't want to sound critical here, but there are people who work on themselves and seek to know themselves. And there are people who choose not to do that because they think it's too much work. And so there's like two kinds of drops in the river, there's the drop that's flowing along merrily, just finding its way and just seeking to be, but know yourself as the drop in the ocean. It's for me, it falls into a type of humility that I try to practice. It's ego could get in there and say, oh, I'm the head honcho guy. And I'm not, I'm just another drop in the river doing what I like to do. But I'm doing it with self-knowledge. I'm doing it with consciousness. I'm doing it with focus and mindfulness to the best of my ability. And so here we are, Lagouge, being in the flow. So I think that this week's flow of runes, as we're talking about the flow, I think that this week's flow of runes is really talking about how to stay in that higher state of consciousness. It's like if you know the chakras and the earth chakra, the root, and the sacral chakra, the water chakra is the womb, and the next one up is the solar plexus. All of these relate to earth life, to 3D life. And when you go higher than that, you're talking about the heart awareness. And the heart is what links our spirit to our physical. We are spirit embodied spirit, having a spiritual experience in the physical plane. And anything above the solar plexus, staying in that state, It's close to joy, it's close to connection to the divine, it's close to what you love to do, it's close to being in the movement, it keeps you strong, it has a positive effect on your autoimmune system. All of these benefits are part of it. You know, Oath maybe is also about speaking your truth. So we have all of these runes this week that are contributing to keep us in the higher state of energy. And it's not that you omit knowledge of the lower state. You know, you could get devastating knowledge, but still take a higher position towards it. You know, the heart brain accordance, you know, they call it the heart math stuff, but it's just the bringing the heart and the mind together and maintaining that state of being. It's like living on the left side of the Enneagram as you're watching it. You know, there's so much to talk about, but this is just the weekly rune draw. So we'll go with that. So from joy to creative expression through knowing your own emotions to being strong and, you know, keeping your heart in alignment with your mind also is good for your autoimmune system. And the the rune Rido coming up to remind us of where our gravity centers are, and Halch being that which we reach for that makes us the happiest. And even if we don't quite attain it, we gain knowledge, and we gain knowledge of, you know, how to get closer on the next try. And the final rune for the week is just about being in the flow. And so it goes. So I'm Susan Hintz-Epstein, or Susan of the North, and I will wish you all a blessed rune week.